Chapter 13, The Showdown. Before the gang reached them, Mo lost touch with reality and launched himself at the big problem. He raised his fist and shouted, "I've had a really bad day, mister. I nearly hurled on my flight this morning. I almost got trampled by an Alicia Keenan stampede. I almost experienced urination detonation in the Empire State Building, and a pigeon attacked me on the subway. So back off, because I've had about all I can take." He paused and took a breath. "And I'm not going to let some biker dudes end my life or my friends' lives either. Got that?" "Calm down, sonny boy," said the big problem as he grabbed Mo's wrists and lowered them. "Nothing is going to happen to you. My friends and I just finished having a meeting and we're leaving." He paused and surveyed the toppled motorcycles. "If it's possible to do so." "Just a meeting?" asked Mo. "That's right. This is the official headquarters of New York chapter. We just had a meeting to figure out how to raise money for the homeless." He looked at Anna and smiled. "So, we're a big problem, honey?" Anna looked down and kicked at the sidewalk with the toe of her shoe. Then she glanced at the motorcycle mess. "Sorry, mister. Maybe the three of us are the big problem." "That's okay, honey." He patted Anna on the head. "Accidents are a part of everyday life." He paused, stroked his beard, and smiled with relish. "And I have to admit that I've caused a fair share of catastrophes in my life. Anyway, enough of this Mr. nonsense. My name's Harley Patrick Davidson, but my students back home call me Mr. D." "Students?" asked Tony. "Yeah, right. That's right, kids about your age." "No way," said Tony. "Yes way, I'm a 4th grade teacher." "Extreme," said Anna, holding out her hand. "My name's Anna. Glad to meet you, Mr. D." "My pleasure," he said, Mr. D, as he shook Anna's hand. Mo held out his hand. "My name is Mo." He paused and pointed over his shoulder with his thumb. "And sorry about that." "Glad to meet you, Mo," said Mr. D as he shook Mo's hands. "And don't worry about the cycle carnage. That's what insurance is for." Tony held out his hand. "My name's Tony. I'm sorry for starting this whole mess. I just couldn't resist." "No problem, Tony," said Mr. D as he shook Tony's hand. "The cycles are real beauties. I understand 100%. Tony cleared his throat. Mr. D, this may be none of my business, but aren't you a little cold?" "Dang right, Tony, and if I ain't careful, I'm going to freeze my hander off." The three kids looked at each other and smiled. The door opened and an attractive woman with blonde hair stepped out onto the sidewalk. She pushed her way through the gang and held up a large black leather jacket. "Harley, did you forget something?" "I guess I did," said Mr. D, taking the jacket from the woman. "Thanks." "You're what?" Then she paused because the motorcycle mess caught her eyes. "What happened?" "I'll explain later," Mr. D said as a slight smile creased his face. "An interesting explanation, I'm sure," she said, running her fingers through her hair. "Thanks for the preliminary interview, Harley. We'll do the live interview in an hour at the studio, okay?" "I wouldn't miss it," said Mr. D, wiggling into his jacket. Tony looked at the woman. "Excuse me, ma'am, you look familiar. Do I know you?" "You might have seen me on TV. I work at MTV. I just finished talking to Harley about his band's upcoming charity concert." Tony looked at Mr. D. "Band? Concert? I thought you were a teacher." Mr. D smiled and shrugged his shoulders. "I guess I'm a rockin' teacher. Kids are my passion and rock is my love." "Well, the underground New York rock scene passionately loves Harley and the Angels," interrupted the woman, turning her attention to Tony. "You look familiar, too." She stared at Tony for a moment, and a smile slowly crept across her face. "I've got it. You're the kid in the bear suit from Kansas City, aren't you?" "Yeah," said Tony, "but it's not a big deal." Yes, it was. The whole thing was hilarious. I saw every second of it on the tube. The chase, the touchdown, the ESPN interview. You were great. The woman held out her hand. My name's Luca. Tony shook her hand. My name's Tony, and these are my friends, Anna and Mo. I remember you two as well. Luca paused and shook hands with Anna and Mo. I have an idea. I'm on the air in an hour for a brief MTV news segment about the Angels. Do you kids want to go uptown to the studio and meet some cool people and crash my live interview with Harley? Uptown? I thought we were already uptown, said Tony. No, you're downtown. Really? Really? So what do you say? Shall we head uptown? How about 5 minutes of fame? Sure, Tony hesitantly said. As long as it doesn't take too long. We have to be somewhere important later this afternoon. It won't take long, I promise. My segment is only 5 minutes. Okay, said Tony. Why not? Great, said Luca. By the way, what are you kids doing in New York? Tony looked at Anna and Mo. Well, we're here to make a guest appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman. Yeah, right, said Luca. And I'm going to shoot an MTV special about the hip-hop scene on Mars. Really, said Tony. We're traveling with Mr. G. He's our teacher, but we like him anyway. Uh-huh, said Luca with a hint of disbelief in her voice. So where is this Mr. G? We sorta got separated from him at the airport this morning, and we've been trying to get to the Late Show on our own. I have his cell phone number, interrupted Anna. We've tried to call him several times, but we haven't been able to get through. Could you please try to call him? Sure, said Luca, as she pulled out a cell phone from her coat pocket. I should probably give him a call and see if it's okay if I take you kids to the studio. And I can also check on this Late Show business. Anna handed Luca the numbers. Luca dialed the numbers and held the phone to her ear. She waited for a bit and then canceled the call. Maybe his service doesn't work on the East Coast. Tony's telling the truth, said Anna as she chewed on her lip. Really? This time, added Mo. Luca's eyes darted to the kids, and she briefly locked eyes with each of them. A smile slowly spread across her face, and she said, I believe you. When I consider the bear suit business, it makes sense for Letterman to invite you to appear on The Late Show. Thanks, said Anna. Under the circumstances, I should probably call one of your parents, since I can't get in touch with your teacher, said Luca. Great idea. My mom's probably at home. Let's give her a call, said Tony. Tony told Luca his telephone number, and she punched the keypad, then handed the phone to Tony. Hi, Mom. Pause. Yeah, everything's okay. We're out looking at the sights, and we're having a great time. Pause. Yeah, Anna and Mo are here with me. Pause. Yeah, he's okay, too. I'm not quite sure where he is right now, but he's around somewhere. Maybe in the urination station. Pause. Guess what? MTV wants to interview us. Cool, huh? Is it okay with you? Pause. Great. Here, would you tell him it's okay? Tony paused and handed the phone to Luca. Hello, my name's Luca Stankovic. I'm a reporter for MTV. Pause. I'm pleased to speak to you too, Mrs. Madison. Do you mind if I interview the kids at the studio? We'd love to have the kid in a bear suit and his friends on the air. He's quite a sensation, you know. Pause. It'll be a live broadcast in about an hour. Pause. Thanks a lot. And yes, I'll let him know as soon as possible. Here's Tony. Luca paused and handed the phone back to Tony. Thanks, Mom. Pause. I love you too. Please record the interview, okay? Pause. You're the best. Goodbye. Tony handed the phone to Luca. I've got a nice mom, huh? Yes, you do. She gave me permission to do the interview, but we need to tell Mr. Gore what's going on as soon as possible. Maybe you could call our hotel and leave him a message, said Tony. We're staying at some motel called the Michael something. The Michelangelo? Asked Luca. Yeah, that's it. Luca raised her eyebrows. Nice place. I'll leave a message for him as soon as we get to the studio, and I'll try to call the Late Show, too. Thanks, said Tony. Do you think you could take us to the Late Show after the interview, too? Sure, it's just up Broadway. We should probably leave now. My driver is waiting for me across the street. Tony turned to Mr. D. Thanks for being cool about the cycle business. No problem, said Mr. D, reaching into his coat pocket and pulling out a postcard and some tickets. Here's a postcard with a photo of my band and our website address. You can contact me through the website. And here are 4 tickets to the Phantom of the Opera. Some woman gave them to me at one of our concerts. I've already seen Phantom. Go check it out. It'll knock your socks off. Thanks so much, said Anna. I've always wanted to go to a real play. Mo turned to Mr. D. Thanks for not killing us. You're welcome, said Mr. D, reaching into his coat pocket again and pulling out a keychain. Here's an official Hell's Angel keychain. When you tell your stories back home about your showdown with the Hell's Angels and your friends don't believe you, whip out your keychain as evidence. Thanks, said Mo. I'll put my house key on it. We should probably hit the road and grab a quick bite before the interview, said Mr. D, motioning to the other bikers. Mr. D shook hands with each of the kids and gave Luca a kiss on the cheek. He and his biker friends went over to their toppled cycles. A couple of bikers exchanged heated words with Mr. D. Words like accident and filing and insurance and don't be idiots pierced the chilly air. Finally, Mr. D and the bikers righted and mounted their cycles, fired up the engines, and roared off down the street. Wow, said Tony. That was cool. They were cool. He was cool. We really need to get to the studio, said Luca. Good idea, said Mo, pulling his stocking cap out of his pocket. Is it always this cold here? No, answered Luca, bending over and picking up a business card that dropped out of Mo's pocket. She handed the card to him as the 4 of them crossed the street to the waiting MTV car. Here, you drop this. Mo read the card and smiled. Then he handed it to Tony. Tony read the card, shook his head, and handed it to Anna. Anna read the card and handed it back to Mo. How romantic, said Anna. The following was printed on the front of the card in elegant gold letters. Haveli's, the best restaurant in the East Village, 100 2nd Avenue, telephone 212-555-0533. The following was scrawled on the back of the card in blue ink. Divya Barua, divya@haveli.com, 212-555-0533. Did I ever tell you how much I love New York City? Asked Mo, as the 4 of them climbed into the car. I can't wait to see what else happens today. Anna smiled and winked at Mo. Tony rolled his eyes and stuck his finger down his throat and gagged. And Mo read the card again.